Hi, welcome to Punchline Talks. My name is Mark Owen, and today my special guest is Stephen Freeman. He is the CEO of Freeman Events Partners. Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks very much. We've never met before, so it's funny. We probably rocked past each other at King's Home lots of times, so it's great to finally meet you at long last.
Yeah, and you as well. I'm sure I've met you having one or two acquaintances around the bar at King's Home once or twice, but memory fails me at that point.
I'm sure we have, but it's great to meet you because you are one of the most, shall we say, very well-known entrepreneurs in the county.
Well,
Can you tell us, please, anyway, all about Freeman's Event Partners so that anybody else watching this who doesn't know?
so Freeman's Event Partners is an event-led business that runs at many major UK and European events. We are a Gloucestershire business. I was born in Gloucester Hospital, which is important to us that we know where our roots are. And this year we'll be operating at somewhere like the Ryder Cup in Rome, doing all the food and beverage on site, be it serving a pizza to a fish and chips to a burger and fries or oysters, and then the payment solutions that go with that, all the credit card facilities, EPOS tills, Wi-Fi connectivity, anything to make a greenfield event run. We tend to facilitate making that happen at many major UK events.
Okay, how many staff have you got? What's your kind of turnover?
We'd be around 120 full-time people at the moment, growing by about 10 to 12% in the next 3 months. So we'd end up at about 135. And our turnover, we manage about 100 million in revenue through our tills at all of our events over the country.
Well, there's quite a lot. So you Grand Prix as well, isn't it?
Yeah, we do Formula One at Silverstone. We're looking at some possible other Formula One races in Europe as well at the moment. And the food and beverage we have in the UK in terms of choice in the event world is huge now. Street food, the phenomenon of that, and real, honest, open, locally sourced produce is starting to creep into the European markets more. So there's more of a request for food and beverage in Europe to be really a part of the event day experience now. So we're seeing that request from Europe a lot more because they haven't got the facilities over there that we've got in the UK. We really are very lucky that you go to somewhere like Twickenham and it's no longer an 80-minute day out. It's a 4 or 5 hour day out because the food, beverage and drink and choice you've got available make it that way.
And let's be honest, the provenance of food is really important, but also then the added value back, isn't it? Because you can make a bit more margin on it, and we're all in business at the end of the day to make a bit of money.
Yeah,
is that the way it works?
Yeah, yes, 100%, yes. But the customer experience, deal with the customer, given the best possible choice you can, and ultimately it will drive revenue. Give them your commitment to give them the best you can in that event and experience. Ultimately, it will drive revenue. Across the event world at the moment, you're seeing ticket prices increase dramatically as you are your shopping basket. And that's because of the event day experience is changing massively.
You know, do you think there's a danger, Stephen, sorry, that because I was at the Principality Stadium recently, it's now got to £7.50 a pint.
Yeah.
You know, the average Joe public, there's a danger of pricing them out.
I totally agree. Some of that is profiteering, as it is in all works of life at the moment, and some of that is genuinely the cost of product over the past 12, 14 months. It have increased to such a rate, it's ridiculous. So for Silverstone in July, we would have been about £6.40 a pint at Formula One. If you'd have asked me in September, that same price would have probably been £7.40. Wow. We've never seen really an inflationary environment from my age in the event world before like we have now. And when you look at transport, staffing, labour costs, fuel, generators, every single one of those areas have been hit, which directly affects an event week in, week out. So do I blame them? No. Is it a bit profiteering? Yes. Are you going to see a point below £7 in an event next year, 90% events? No. Because the cost base will not allow it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody in the hospitality trade has suffered, obviously, since COVID. Yeah. They're really highly geared, lots of debt, working in that environment and trying to get chefs and things. Has that been a problem for you or not?
We spotted during sort of end of first lockdown, start of second lockdown, that recruitment and casual members of teams were going to be an issue because of Brexit. Yeah. Like that. So then we had the flood of people going to work in a Sainsbury's shopping van or whatever that looked like. and deciding that that was a better life for them. But we put 2 more people in our staffing team. We've had issues, but we haven't had the issues where we haven't been able to deliver an event, where some national caterers or international caterers, the compasses, have really, really struggled to open up these stadiums in key areas in London and Manchester and places like that, and get the amount of people they need to keep the lights on. You know, so it's been tough.
Now, you guys have really stuck your head above the parapet. You know, I've been in business a long time, obviously with Moose Marketing, and obviously with Punchline now going for 14 years. But this is the first year where I've really seen you coming out of the blocks. You know, you're waving the flag. You're really pushing. So that always rings alarm bells to me, thinking, oh, are the guys up for selling, or why are they doing it? So that's my question to you.
No, so we have been understating as a business in terms of what we've done over a period of 30, 40 years. We're a family that probably is very inner critical, and a business that's very, very inner critical. We tend to kick a little bit too much of our issues rather than our positives. One of the key things that we've done as part of Justine, who's sat in the room with us at the moment, who's our head of marketing, is say, you know what, let's shout about a bit more what we do. Also, the level and profile of some of the contracts we're now going after, the Ryder Cup in Rome. That's a huge logistical challenge for us. We want to make sure our clients are confident and know what we do, and know that we do this stuff week in, week out. We've got 3 lots of 82,000 people at Twickenham this month. You got the Cheltenham Trials. You got West Ham Football Club, some stuff at Wembley Carabao Cup final. We don't shout about it enough. So we literally will have a client we've been with 20 years that don't know we do an event up the road. So raising our profile is one of the key goals for the business, to make sure we get the best value we can when we're speaking to our partners. And our partners could be our clients, it could be our suppliers, it could just be our team members. You know, just from our profile, we've got a new non-exec director join us recently, and that comes from some of the profile work we've been doing, and he was interested in us. We just weren't shouting about it enough. So no, we're not for sale. We're looking forward to the next 5 years. We just signed a 5-year strategy off now, and where that takes us. And we expect us to be in America within 2.
So how do you manage that then yourself? Then you just said about a new chief executive coming in yourself, because is it your business, Stephen? Or is it a family affair? How does it actually work?
The owners are the business, are myself, who's CEO, my sister, who's a head of concessions, and my brother, who's the head of the bars division. We own the business a third, and a third. That's how it works. Then there's an exec table of about 8 people, non-exec director, CFO, ops director, stuff like that. And then there's a board table of about 12 that run the separate divisions within the business.
Now, the actual family, running a family business,
yeah,
and with families, let's be honest,
yeah.
Is that tough time? Sometimes does that come around the table at Christmas? I mean, or do you not see each other? Just think, no.
Do you notice I'm getting nervous when I'm doing this one, Mark? We have a loving family where we just share so much time together. It's really great. We buy one another Christmas presents and flowers on birthdays and stuff like that. And if you want the real answer to that one, Mark, it's going to have to be over a pint. It's a challenge. It's a challenging for the people we bring into the teams. And it's a challenge for the family to change the way we used to work, because that's not always correct, and try and look at new directions and the way forward. We're very successful at it. You know, do we have our bumps? Yes, we do, as every family would at some point or another. Have we got more opportunity than what we've ever been faced with? Yes, opportunity is not the issue here. It's how we embrace that. You know, so yes, and no.
So, I mean, it's obviously you're running a very, very successful company, but what would you say would be the biggest lesson that you learned in business?
Oh,
has there been a particular mistake that you made and thought, oh, sugar, apart from this interview?
2 statements that was said by very intelligent people that I thought was rubbish at the time, but always stuck in my head. Don't let your best contract stop you, and employ the best people you possibly can.
Right, fair play. I hope that's not your top 3 business tips, because I'm going to have
I've got 3 separate ones for you there. I've wrote them down already.
Oh, good stuff. But we're talking about the family then. So let's go back to the beginning, if that's okay. So you're born in Gloucester. Whereabouts, from Gloucester are you actually from, and the family's from?
Right in this literally two Westgate Bridge area of Gloucester. So that's where it's from. My mum's from Cradley Heath, Birmingham. Dad's born in Gloucester Hospital. My brother's born in Gloucester Hospital. My sister's born in Gloucester Hospital. So we're Westgate Bridge area of Gloucester, and we were brought up in the town all our lives. We support local community stuff. Gloucester Rugby Club at the moment a lot. Matson Rugby Club, Spartans Rugby Club, Coney Rugby Club. So we are really, really Gloucester people. That's what counts for us a lot. The business was actually founded around 1935 by a company called Yates Family, and they were based in Cardiff, and that was one fish and chip van that my dad ended up buying in 1975, 40 years later. And there's actually a picture in our offices of Richard Burton being served fish and chips in 1935 on that fish and chip van. And the guy that was serving the fish and chips was my dad's father, and he was smoking a fag while serving the fish and chips at the time, because that's the way things were then. The business actually became what we call Freeman's Event Partners today in 1975. And that was literally 1-2 catering units operating at some fun fair type events and some motocross and stuff like that. It's only sort of 1980s that events became the size and scale that they are now, the festival world and all that sort of stuff. So from 1980 on, the business has not stopped running, to be honest with you, and parts of it have been on catch up. So
how old are you, if you don't mind me asking, Stephen?
46.
So you're 46. So when did you start into the business? I would imagine a bit like me, actually. You would probably start at 13, 14.
Well, 10, 11 years old, working on catering units, because that's the way it was then. That's not acceptable now. And properly owning the business 2002, 2003.
So how did that come about then, if you don't mind me asking? Sorry.
No, my father didn't. He had two areas to the business: concessions and catering. Catering was the legwork, as it still is now, and he wanted us to take over that full time, and he gave it to us basically. He run the concession side of the business, we run the catering side of the business, and eventually we bought him out the concession side of the business in about 2010 for that, and then we carried on to run the whole lot. He now sits as a chairman of the group.
So are you a chef yourself? Do you cook? Is that part of it? Or, when you were there in the burger vans, whatever, frying onions and cooking the rest? Or
no, we are very aware of food, and we love great food. You have to be able to serve great food at huge capacity, So when we say, am I a chef? We've got 2,500 chefs in the business, really. If you like, there's 2,500 different subcontractors work for the business. Yeah, that'd be the guy that's got this specialist oyster. It could be Cotswold Wagyu, and a gent called Andrew runs Badminton Horse Show. It could be you name any type of tacos. We do all the Major League Baseball at London Stadium. It's very Americanized. So we'll bring in a load of subcontractors to suit that genre and that environment, if you like. So there's probably 2,500 chefs that work for us. We have 2 development chefs that work dedicated for the business, but then you've got all these individual operators that come together to form a food and drink offer to suit the event.
And how do you manage that then, Stephen?
No, there's teams and teams of people within the business that do all that sort of stuff. Dedicated account managers. We send research teams out to find the local best operators, be it street food award winners, just word of mouth. So
what happened when you took over from your father then? So you brought out your dad, and you came and you sat down with your sister and your brother and thought, okay.
I became his boss immediately, which he liked that. Make sure that one gets out there. So no, it was very much, we took over that side of the business, and it was very much a 12, 24-month phase. So it wasn't really an immediate change. It took a bit of time to get used to what he was doing, and then how we wanted to do it. And then we're probably passing that on to the next generation now, to be honest with you, of people within the business to learn how they want to do it. Biggest change was probably commercialness. How we started bringing in commercial people at that point, and realizing that the size of the contracts we're now involved with needed a board table to look at them, needed a CFO or FD and so on and so forth to make sure we're maximizing the longevity and the commerciality of those deals on behalf of our client as well as us. If we don't access it on behalf of the client, it's never going to be worth our while. So we're very fair when we deal with that side of the business. So commerciality was the biggest change over the sort of 2005 to 2020 period. 15 years of really, really commercialising the operations.
And what's your favourite part of the job still? You're obviously still very hands-on, and you're at Twickenham this weekend. Is that well, Twickenham, England lost anyway, but we won't go down that route. But yes, what's your favourite part of the job?
Standing back and talking to a room of people that have been in this business either 1 month or 25, 30 years, and talking to them about what they've achieved in the past week, month, 2 months, 3 months. The things we do at major events give people their life experiences. So people are going to Formula One this year, or Twickenham Stadium, or Wembley Stadium, or Tottenham to see Beyonce, and that could be their holiday. That could be their one-off occasion this year where they're going, and we could be giving them all their food and beverage on that day. Everything they consume on that day could be us. Making sure that's the best we can possibly make it for that occasion for them is very important to this business, and just reminding ourselves how well we do that to what might be 400,000 people at Silverstone last year and 450,000 this year. No,
is there a particular event that you go to which is your favourite out of all of
them? Formula One's huge, massive. Goodwood Festival of Speed is fantastic. God bless her soul, the Queen's funeral was an amazing experience to be involved in. During the second lockdown, I think Prince Philip's funeral, we were involved in that, you know, servicing all the guards and all the security and all that sort of stuff. A major pop concert is always good fun. Adele's one of the best I've seen, but we've also seen Queen at Nedworth. We've also seen Ozzy Osbourne, Michael Jackson. You know, you can't not be impressed by some of these people. I've seen Rolling Stones at Cardiff Arms Park. You know, I was probably about 15 years old, didn't know what the Honky Tonk Tour was, but my God, when I left, I thought, "What, that sounded all right." You know, so you are very privileged to see some unique gold-plated events in our Mandela's birthday party. We've done that. You know, Nick
do you get to rock up to the rich and famous at these kind of events?
It tends to be like going to the sweet shop. It gets a bit samey, to be honest with you. So you do get to sit with some very interesting people once or twice a year, yeah.
Okay, but I've got to ask you about the Queen, because you brought that up.
Yeah.
What exactly, what part did Freemans play then in that, which was a historical event?
So I'm a royalist, so it's important for us that we got that right. In terms of we were planning that for about 2.5, 3 years. But that, in theory, Prince Philip's was a dry run. They didn't expect it that way round. So it was Operation Lion Guard we were involved in. But that was all the planning based around what would happen day 1, day 2, day 3, up to day 10, if you like. So we were planning that for months and months in advance. So literally, or years in advance. So literally, when it did happen, we sort of knew probably, I'm going to say, sort of 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon before the announcement at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, was it? Something like that. I can't remember the exact timings. So we already had people, we called a massive meeting into our office in Gloucester, and then the various teams went off and done their jobs, whatever they needed to do. We were then in charge of delivering all the public catering at Windsor Castle, for all the security guards, for all the police, for all the army, as well as all the public that attended that venue over the period of a week. We delivered all the public catering for the masses that went there.
Which wow, was how many people was that?
Oh, there's lots of different numbers, in the region of 500,000 over the week at least.
Wow, I mean that's one hell of a job. You don't do the toilets as well. You don't get the.
No, we don't do the toilets. We feed the toilet cleaners, but we don't do the toilets. No, so.
It's probably a good idea not to get too involved in that side of things as well. You must be tremendously proud then of the way that went.
Oh, very, very proud, very honourable. We put a lot of effort into it. There was no commerciality in that for us, by the way. We made sure the right things were done there, and it was an honour to be involved in that type of thing, as it was the war marches in London, as it was the countryside marches in London. We've done a lot of high profile stuff like that. You know, we used to do all the Party in the Parks, which was the Prince Charles's Trust and all that sort of stuff. So it was good.
Yeah, it's one of those things you can't really fly the flag on the day, can you? Because it'd just be too unsavoury.
Yeah,
But I do know what you mean about the pre-planning beforehand. I don't know if you know, I used to be in the Air Force myself, and
yeah.
I was stationed at RAF Benson, and I was actually picked to carry the Queen Mother's coffin.
Oh wow, right.
And if she was to pass away when I was there, and the idea is you had to carry out a Hercules and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I was the right size for the job,
yeah.
and because you have to be a certain height,
My
and,
God,
and I thankfully I never had to do. Thankfully, I never had to do it.
them boys did a job on that day, didn't they?
Oh, was it ever?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
and it was the same guys all the time. You kept thinking they're going to change the guard, but they didn't, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
So you guys obviously put some serious effort into that. I mean, kind of what type of shifts were you doing? Because you must have been up fretting all night. If that was me and my business.
A lot of planning was done. So was there various teams doing 18 hours a day for 4 or 5 days to get to where we need it? Yes. Were they aware it was coming? Not as quick as we thought, but they knew that we were 6 to 12, 3, 6, 9, 12 months away from possible, issues there. So that we just went to work, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I suppose you just did the job you're
Yeah.
kind of trained and ready to do.
Yes.
So what happens? What about Freeman's next then? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? What's the plan?
Your the UK market in the event world is huge. You could sit in the UK and grow all the time. We see ourselves Paris Olympics 24. We're looking at that now with some major corporate caterers that are involved. We see ourselves probably hitting a lot more of the bigger one-off events around the European circuit, be it the European finals in Germany, 2028, if it gets awarded to the UK at Wembley. There's going to be a lot more big sporting events that we're looking at to maximize revenue, customer experience. The F1s across Europe used to be 60,000 people on a Sunday. They're now 120,000 people on a Sunday. So big major events is on the calendar, and it feels like a majority of that will be European-led rather than UK-led, because we're doing a lot of them already.
Do you think also that people, because of COVID, post-COVID, people just want to, let loose, spend that bit of money, enjoy the freedom that they can, enjoy these shit because they miss them?
Yeah. Was there pent-up demand? Yes. Is that pent-up demand sustainable at an A1 event level? At your blue chip events? Probably. Is it sustainable lower than that? There's a lot of events now lower than the A1 level, suffering with attendance and spend. You can't put up everybody's house bills, shopping basket, fuel bills as much as what they've gone up in the past 12 months and not expect spend to minimise at some key events, if you like.
I'm always amazed at Glastonbury how huge. Surely they've reached their capacity now. They can't get any bigger. Surely not.
If they wanted to sell 500,000 tickets per day, they could do. I assure you, there's no lack of demand to get Glastonbury tickets. It's one of our biggest requests of people. Can you get me Glastonbury tickets? Can you get me Glastonbury tickets? Size and scale of the farm to operate it on, and the local fields and the roads to get in there and out of there, and all the infrastructure would be the issue for them not being able to do that. Whether they want to take it there as well from a Glastonbury point of view, and a greener festival and the economics of it and all that sort of stuff is a different question. Bigger isn't always better, but Glastonbury is one of the biggest I've ever seen. It's pretty huge.
What's your favourite here in Gloucestershire that you deal with?
What event?
Events. Yeah. Here in the county. What's your favourite one
I'm a rugby player. I love Maxim Rugby Club and local rugby in general. So it would have to be Gloucester Rugby Club, wouldn't it? It's a fantastic venue. It's one of the top-rated Premiership venues in the country. If not the top. It's a clean operation down there. I'd like them to be one or two places higher in the league at the moment, as I'm sure they would. But let's see how that washes out towards the end of the season. And Gloucester Rugby's, I'm all about Gloucester Rugby. It's fantastic for us to be operating our operation in that venue on our doorstep and giving the Gloucester fans hopefully a service where they're happy. So,
now, we ran a recent story on you guys. You raised £40,000 for the Pied Piper appeal. Yeah. I mean, why did you choose the Pied Piper? Was there a particular?
We chose the Pied Piper appeal before I had personal circumstances where my child ended up at the hospital with suspected meningitis It was all clear, touch word and all that sort of stuff. So we chose the Pied Piping Field for that. Back pre the days of COVID, I'm talking 10, 12, 15 years ago, we used to be able to go and walk around at the hospital, see the children, see the ward, speak to the nurses, speak to the doctors, and actually see where your money got spent. Yeah. And if we had £10, that's what it bought. You know, that's still the case now. And there's a lot of organizations where perhaps you can't see that. You know, so clarity on saying to the people in our office that might have gone out their way on a run or a bike ride or a charity gain, you know what, if you're going to do it, if you can do it for this, we'll support you, you support it, and this is where it goes, is huge. There's a lot of children in Gloucester that need that help in the Gloucestershire area, so why not? You know, it's a genuine, bona fide, honest charity, which is important to us.
Now, you're talking about all these great famous people that you've met, or Nelson Mandela and events. What type of music do you like? So if I hopped into your 4x4, I don't know what you've got, huge tank, I would imagine. Job, what's playing on there? What's playing on their music?
Oh, yeah, not much usually, to be honest with you. So we've seen everybody, so it's hard not to like them. You know, you can't say Pavarotti is rubbish because you don't like classical music. You know, he's one of the best in the business. So I've seen Pavarotti, I've seen the Free Tenors, I've seen Osborne, Michael Jackson, I've seen Kiss with the makeup, doing the rock band stuff. We've seen Def Leppard, you name it, we've seen them. And the top acts, when they're good whether you like it or not. They're just good. So Eurythmics, Annie Lennox at Party in the Parks and Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. I was probably about 111,000 people out of 110, if you like. And I was right at the back working, and I was looking over going, oh my word, wow, that's impressive. You know, latest I've seen that is the best is Adele. She's about as good as they get at the moment for me. She's world class. I ain't a great fan of her music, but my God, when she opens her mouth, she's unbelievable.
Yeah, a bit like Queen, isn't it? During the Band-Aid.
Yeah,
when Queen came on, they were all pretty good, but then suddenly Queen came on and just blew them all away.
Changed the game, yeah. So we've seen Queen at Nedworth in 1986 in Radio Gaga. I was 11. So,
okay. Well, as a different personal question, what's your last book that you bought?
Last book I bought, or last book I read?
Okay, well, if you like me, you got around 20. What's the book you've read?
The 1 Minute Manager that's still in my bag just over there that I've not read because it's too small. I'm not a fantastic book reader. A gentleman that used to be a non-exec director for us and a personal friend called Jim Tyrrell unfortunately passed away last year from a heart attack. Very, very sad. And he used to get me to read books. So I read 2 or 3 books what Jim recommended to me like that. And I had a great time reading them. But my God, time. So I don't get much time. I'm a busy guy and I love what I do, but I don't get around to books very much, which is one of my bugbears, to be honest.
No, I can't believe you there. I thought you were going to say I read Punchline every day.
Yes, I read Punchline as soon as it comes through. Actually, I do like Punchline. It's the easy read for me.
That's very kind of you, mate. That's very, very kind. So I've got to ask you, because we are running out of times now, unfortunately. Yep. Steve, what's your top 3 business tips, please?
Top 3 business tips. Loyalty. Be loyal. Be loyal to your people. Be loyal to your customers. Be loyal to your clients. The reason why we call ourselves partners is because everybody's a partner of our business. Whether you work here, whether you sell something here, or whether we do something for you, be loyal. Loyalty is the key thing that will help you ultimately earn money. Because if you're loyal, they will come back and back and back and back, and you start naming your price. So loyalty is key. Openness. Be open with people. We hold town hall meetings here once every quarter. We hold divisional meetings once a month with everybody. We talk them all through their numbers. We talk them all through what we're going to try and achieve, what we're not going to try and achieve. The floor sweeper is as important as the CFO. Make sure that culture is within your business because it's paramount and it's important. You are no important than the next man. And then honesty. Be honest. If something's not going right, be honest. The quicker you're honest, the quicker you can put it right and the quicker somebody gets direct feedback. Be honest, be nice and honest, but not nasty and honest. But honesty, openness, and that will send you on your way to stratosphere of business. That's what I believe.
Stephen Freeman, thanks ever so much for joining Punchline Talks today. Great pleasure to meet you.
Thank you very much, Mark. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Bye.